Welcome to my project. Hey guys, welcome back to another DIY episode. Today we're going to be unboxing and installing the NewAge garage storage cabinet system. I'm going to open the boxes, show you what's in them, and then we're going to install it on this blank wall right here. Alright, so let's get started. To get started, I swept out that area where the cabinets are going to be going. I wanted to make sure it was nice and clean under there before I started the installation. Then I took my air blower here and just blew out all that dirt, make sure it was nice and clean. Once I was satisfied with that, I got to the task of starting to open these gigantic boxes. And now I've got the first cabinet out of the box. I'm going to open this thing up and see what's inside here. And they were really well packed. That styrofoam held everything in place. Nothing was damaged, and there were directions in both tall cabinets. You can see here I'm taking out one of the upper cabinets, and now I'm trying to pull out the toolbox, the wheeling tool chest. So that's wedged in there good, inside some cardboard and surrounded by styrofoam, so I got to get that out carefully. I'm just going to put that aside for now. And after I've emptied out the big cabinet, I've got my dolly, and I'm just going to wheel it over to where it's going to go somewhere in that area, just to get it out of the way. I can already tell these cabinets are nice. They feel really firm and heavy. Now it's time to open up the second box, and you can see again, really well packed. There's another one of the upper cabinets right there, so I'm going to grab that out and put it aside for now. You can see how much trouble I have getting it out. It's well packed. Now I'm taking out the shelves. These are the shelves for the tall lockers here. There's 6 of them all together. And now I'm taking out one of the under the workbench cabinets here. So now I've got all the cabinets out. So these cabinets you don't have to assemble, but they are packed inside of each other. Now it's time to get my dolly and move the second cabinet against the wall. With the unpacking done, it was time to put the feet and the legs on all the cabinets. The legs just get attached with some nuts and bolts, and then the feet just kind of screw in. You want to screw them all the way in because we're going to start at the very top of the slide of the garage here and work our way down. Then it was time to put the first cabinet in place. We made sure to tighten the legs and feet on the left side of the cabinet since that's the short side of the slope for us, and then we leveled it off by adjusting out the feet on the bottom of the right side of the cabinet. It's very important to get this cabinet level because all the other cabinets run off this one. If the cabinet's not level, the doors will not open. Now it was time to mark out the studs. I use the stud finder and I'm just going along the wall and I'm making a mark with the pencil on the wall every time I find a stud. And I'm just going to do this all the way across the garage. The reason I'm doing this is because the cabinets have to be mounted against the wall. Since there is a molding lip on the bottom of the cabinet, it pushes the cabinet away from the wall. So I'm going to put some furring strips on here later on. I'll use the marks on the wall to attach the furring strips, and then I'll be able to just attach the cabinets anywhere along the furring strips. I also made sure to mark the wall behind the cabinets too, so I can screw the furring strips in there too. Then I took a level and went over all the stud lines just to make sure I could see them when I was mounting the cabinets. Next, I mounted the worktop support onto the left cabinet. This was just a matter of putting the bracket up and screwing it in from the inside. If you're having problems working around that door, then just take it off. I made sure the screws were hand tight, and then I got it at my level and made some final adjustments and used a wrench to tighten it all up. Next, it was time for the tool bench. I removed all the drawers, and then I turned it upside down. This one doesn't get feet, it gets wheels because it rolls around. Only 2 of these wheels turn 360 degrees. Those go in the back. Attaching them was really simple. I just used the screws that came with it, the washers, and tightened them all up. Then I turned the rolling tool cart back on its side and started inserting the drawers. After that, I locked the front wheels into place. Now it's time to start working on the lower secured cabinet. This is just like one of the lockers, except for it's a smaller under-the-counter cabinet. I attached all the legs and then screwed in the feet. Once that was done, I put the cabinet back on the floor and then slid it up next to the pull-out tool chest. That's where it's going to go when it's finished. Next, I started working on the second tall locker. I put the feet and the legs on just like I did the other one, and then I moved this one into place. Then I started adding the worktop mounting bracket on this cabinet. It's the same process as the other one. On this one I took off the door to make it a little easier to work on. I hand tightened the screws at first, just till I get the worktop bench on, and then I'll go back and level it all out. Next, I measured out the size of the worktop, and then spaced out the 2 tall lockers accordingly to make sure the worktop would fit right between them. After that, I slid the worktop in place right where it's going to go. I went back to the bracket on the first locker and lined up the worktop, made some marks with a pencil, and drilled right through the bracket into the wood to secure the worktop. After that, I went to the second locker and did the same thing. Once that was done, I got out my level to make sure the whole thing was level. At this point, I'm going to have to make some adjustments to the cabinet on the right because I needed that workbench to go in first before I could really level the whole thing off. I just adjusted the legs out until the workbench was level. Next, it was time to open up the shelves and start putting them in the tall lockers. I had a good idea of where I wanted the shelves to go. I wanted one on the very top, and then I wanted one in the middle, and one about a foot from the bottom. They were really simple to install. You just kind of get them in there and press down, and these little locks go into place. Next, it was time to mount the upper cabinet. I added some furring strips to the wall because there's some space between the wall and the cabinets because of some molding near the bottom of the wall. I screwed the furring strips into the studs where I made the marks on the wall earlier. As I went along, I just got out my level and made sure I was going in a straight line all the way across. I kept going across the wall until I screwed the furring strips into all the studs. I also made sure to screw the furring strips in behind the two large lockers. Next, I'm going to check that my cabinets are plumb and level because I'm about to attach the upper cabinets and I need these cabinets to be in the correct place. It was time to attach the upper cabinets. The upper cabinets attach to the cabinets next to them and to the back wall. I started off by attaching the first upper cabinet to the left locker with the nuts and screws that came with it for the 4 holes. Then I used my level to make sure the whole thing was straight and I attached the upper cabinet to the furring strips. I started the same process with the middle upper cabinet. I attached it to the cabinet to the left of it with the screws and the nuts. I checked it for level, and then I attached it to the furring strips in the back. On the third cabinet, I followed the same procedure. I attached this cabinet to the left. I used my level to make sure it was all straight. I then attached it to the cabinet on the right, which is the second tall locker, and I screwed it into the back into the furring strips. Now that the cabinetry is all set up, it's time to install the valances. This is the front shroud that hides the lighting behind it. They were really simple to install. It's just a matter of lining up 2 holes on the top of the valance and the bottom of the upper cabinets. As I went from cabinet to cabinet, I made sure the seams lined up perfectly. And it actually gives a really nice finished look to the product. Next, it was time to install the lighting. The lighting is just held on magnetically. So it's got a magnetic strip on it and it just sticks to the bottom of the cabinet. There's 3 of them. They connect by daisy chain, and there's a plug that goes into the first one. So the first one lights up and lights up all 3. It's actually a really nice, bright illumination for the work area. Now it's time to move down to the small locker on the bottom. This one not only has to attach to the wall, but this one also has to attach to the workbench. This cabinet in the middle keeps the workbench sturdy and stops it from bowing. I made sure to secure it all the way around, and I adjusted the feet on the bottom to bring it right up against the top of the workbench. And here you can see the finished product. It's absolutely beautiful. I mean, the cabinets are in place, they're really sturdy, they're made of steel, they're not going anywhere, it lights up, that cart pulls out. It is absolutely amazing. I'm really excited to start some projects with this thing.
Alright guys, so you can see behind me that the build's done. It's actually really nice. The quality of this it's really well made. It's steel, it's heavy duty steel. All the joints are welded. It's really sturdy when you open it. There's nothing flimsy about it. So I'm actually happy with how it turned out, and I'm going to show you some of the features of this. Alright, so you can see here that I've got my first locker in. This was the very first cabinet in my garage because the garage starts here and slopes down toward the street. So I had to start at the high point, and I started at that point with the legs all the way screwed up into the top of the cabinet so they weren't extended. And then as I worked my way down, going that way toward the street, toward the garage door, I started letting the legs out to keep everything level. It's very, very important that you start with this cabinet completely level, because if the cabinet's not level and square, then the doors won't open correctly. They'll get caught on the bottom, or they'll be off and they won't work. So I had that problem, and it was really frustrating to keep working with the legs. I was by myself to try and get them perfectly level. Even when my level said it was level, the doors weren't opening correctly. So I had to keep adjusting and kind of figure out which way I needed to push it to make the doors will open, but they'll hit on the bottom. They're not going to open smoothly, and they need to open smoothly, right? I mean, for $1,200, it needs to open smoothly. So I had to work with that. Once that cabinet was exactly where I needed it to be, there's screw holes on the top inside all the cabinets, and they just go along the top, and I just screwed it into the wall. Once it was on the wall, and I checked to make sure it was level and square and the doors open, I was ready to move on, and I just started connecting the other cabinet. You can see I've connected the upper cabinets to the locker. The bottom cabinet, that toolbox, is just a whole pull-out box. I'm going to show you that. This has some wheels on it, and you unlock it, and then you just move the whole thing out right here, right? And this is pretty nice. It's got all sorts of drawers to put stuff in. You can see I've got some construction stuff right there, and then I've got some screwdrivers in the next one. And then I've got some rolls of tape and scissors and glasses. And then on the top I have all my stuff for measuring stuff, levels and squares and all that. Right? And I can wheel this around the garage, which is really nice, right? Otherwise it just kind of goes back in place and locks into place. This cabinet here is just a small locker, right? I'm just keeping my cordless tools in here. And then my bag of IKEA parts from all the different IKEA projects. So that's really simple. This cabinet over here is actually part of a toolbox that I have. This and this, an old Craftsman toolbox. I just split it, and it actually happened to fit right in here, which was really nice. And I put the toolbox right on top of the workbench here. And then I've got one final locker over here for storage. There are some bars you can put, like clothing bars to hang hangers up. I guess if you're up north and you go hunting or something, I don't know why you would need that, but I don't have any need for that, so I didn't put it in. I'd rather have the shelf space for storage, and that's what I'm doing. One of the other great things about this system is that there are grommets in the bottom of the lockers, so that wall has a plug behind it. You can kind of see some stuff charging over there, right? And I was able to plug in an extension cord and run it behind the locker and up into the locker, and there's a rubber grommet to go around it so it doesn't cut the wire. And that cabinet has electricity in it if I need to charge stuff in it. So does the other locker. And I mean, you could run electric throughout all the cabinets if you needed to. I don't know why you would need to, but I do have the capacity to charge stuff in the lockers if I need to. I decided I just need to be able to charge stuff on the wall. I don't want to go through lockers looking for, batteries for cordless tools. I'd rather just them be on the wall. I grab, I pop it in, I get to my project, right? So that was kind of a big feature for me to have the capability to put electric into the lockers if I needed to. So as you can see behind me, it's a really good way to organize your garage. Also, when I need my tools, which is a lot of the time, I need to know where everything is, and having organization just really works for me. I'm an organized person. I plan everything in my life. So when I need something, I need to know exactly where it is. All right, so what do you think? That's the NewAge Bowl 3.0 series. I think this is the 8-piece, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, the 8-piece garage organization series. Is this something you've purchased? Are you thinking about purchasing? I got it at Costco online, and it showed up really fast. So it was easy to put together. I'm really happy with it. That's our video for today. Please hit that like button. Show us some love. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we have a new DIY video. And please leave a comment below. What are your thoughts on this system? Did you purchase it? Did you purchase something else? It comes in a bunch of colors. I thought the red was cool, but I didn't know if it was okay for my garage. It's probably good for someone else's garage. I like looking at it, but I don't want red cabinets in my garage. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.